Hey, good afternoon, everyone. We will now continue our discussion in Precalculus, and today we will be discussing about summation. And can you tell me if you can see my screen? Can you see it now? Makita ang screen, everyone? Can you tell me? Inform me. Good. So first that we're gonna be discussing is all about what is summation. So summation is gamitan siya og sigma notation. If you can see this notation, this one, if you can see this notation, that is sigma notation, or also be read as summation. It means you are going to take the sum of all of those terms. So in this case, if you have summation of f of I rather, where I ranges from m to n, then that is just the same as, let me admit this students. This is just the same as if you are going to pick when the first value is m here, it will be f of m. Then since summation, it will be plus. Then next to m is m plus 1, and so on until you will reach the last term, which is n, it will be f of n. Actually, this is the one that we are having here. Okay, so if we have one example, let us consider an example here. So let us have number 1. If we consider number 1 here, if you look at here, you will read this as summation of 2i plus 3, where I ranges from 2 to 4. So it means you will start from 2 and you will end up to 4. So if we're gonna try this one, if you will answer this one, you will have here of this 4, first you replace I into 2. So it will be 2 times 2 plus 3. That is for the first term, because where your first term is 2 and you will end up to 4. So the next term should be 2 times 3 plus 3. Why I write 3 here? Because my I this time is 3. A while ago, my I is 2. And for the last term, you have when I is 4, it will be 2 times 4 plus 3. And after that, if you can simplify your answer, simplify it. So if we're going to look at here, it will be 4 plus 3, that is just 7. This is 6 plus 3, that is just 9. Oops, 9. And then here it will be 8 plus 3, that is just 11, right? So in this case, you will just have 27 as your answer. Is it clear, everyone? I want you to show thumbs up in your, I want your reaction thumbs up, so that I will be able to know that everything is clear. Only Jetro is able to raise hand. How about the rest are able to thumbs up? As well as Jumer. How about the rest? What do you think? Okay, good, very good. Okay, so that's the first one. Let us have another one. So for example, if we consider number 2, it can be written as this one. You started from 0. This is summation of 2 to the I, where I ranges from 0 until 5. So it will be 2 to the power of 0, because the first term must be 0. Next to 0 is 1, right? So the next integer to 0 is 1. So it will be 2 raised to 1. Next is 2 raised to 2 until you will reach to 5, plus 2 raised to 3, 2 raised to 4, and 2 raised to 5. And if we simplify it, 2 raised to 0 is just 1. 2 raised to 1 is just 2. This is just 4. This is just 8, 16, and 32, right? Is it clear, everyone? So if we're gonna add all of this, we can say answer Jetro. If you add all of this,
63, sir. 63.
So this is just, yes, it is just 40, right? It is just 50. 60, right? 63. Yes, and the answer 63 is correct. Okay, I think that is clear. I will not take long for that. Let us proceed to the next part. Ang pinaka-importante, because these things are just basic, there are things that I want you to remember. There are theorems that you need to remember in taking the summation. So for example, you are asked to find what is the summation of I, where I ranges from 1 until n. It means you will be replacing I here by 1, then by 2, then by 3, then and so on until the last term, which is n. So actually, the formula of the summation of I, where I ranges from 1 to n, is just equal to n times n plus 1 over 2. Okay? You remember this one because this is very helpful. Later, ato nang ipang-combine tanan nga mga formula nga akong gi-introduce. I will give one example for this. See, for example, I asked you, what is the summation of I, where I ranges from 1 until 5? So, inyong himuon, isa-isahon from 1 until 5. Pwede ra na, kung gamay ra. How if this is 1,000? Isod, di ba? So, ang inyong himuon class, gamiton lang itong formula nga akong gibutang ganina, n times n plus 1 over 2. In this case, your n is 5. So, it will be 5 times n plus 1, which is 6, divided by 2. Right? So, it will be just equal to 3 times 5. That will be 15. Okay? I want you to try this one. What is summation of I, where I ranges from 1 until 50? Sige daw. Anyone who can help me with this? Or I will be asking you randomly. Okay, so many. What is your n here? What is your n? And I asked Janelle Magsayo. What is your n, Janelle? In the second example, what is your n?
5, sir. 5. Ay, 6. 6.
Man ang 6.
5.
Dalang problem, Janelle, kani sa babaw.
7, sir. Kana.
Ano siya na minaw? Siya ang problem.
50.
50. So since your n is 50, then you will just follow this one. So you will have 50 times 51 because n plus 1, right? All
Yes,
over
sir.
2. So you divide it, it will be just 25 times 51. Okay? Claro? Is it clear? And what is the answer? 25 times 51. Ilan man na?
525, sir.
500?
525.
25? Okay. That's it. Imagine, if you will just expand it, it can be written as 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 and so on until you will reach 50. Sayon ba na ansiran kung ingon na niyon? Lisod, no? But if you know the formula, that will be just easy. Clear? So again, just remember, if you have summation of I, or I ranges from 1 to n, that is just n times n plus 1 over 2. Okay? That is just one of the many formulas that you will be memorizing here. Okay? That is just the first formula. Let us proceed to the next one. The next formula is if you have a constant, then you have a function. If you have a constant, summation of a constant, then you have another function where I ranges from any value m until n. That constant can be set aside. Pwede mapadaplin. Example, if you have summation of 2 times x squared plus 2 so for example, this is na to, x sub I. 3 to the I plus 1. Example, this one. Where I ranges from 1 until 4. So ingon ani nga case class, kung kani constant, pwede na daw na sa ipadaplin. That can be written as 2 times the summation of 3 to the I plus 1. Okay? Manay pasabot ana nga theorem. If you have a constant here, you can set aside it beside your sigma notation in your summation. Clear? Okay, that's it. We will not be deriving it anymore because we don't have enough time to do that. I just want you to learn the basic because we don't have enough time to derive. Actually, if we have a face-to-face na klase unta, I will be deriving each formula, why we come up into that formula. Anyways, I will just leave it to you. Next formula that you're going to familiarize is this. If you have two functions, say f sub I and g sub I, and you are taking the sum of that, the summation of the sum of the two functions, where I ranges from n to n, is just equal to the summation of the individual function. What does it mean? It means if you are given with sum of two functions, pwede rin mo sila itagi-tagi. Summation of the first function, then summation of the second function. Clear? I think that is very clear. So next formula that you will be, this one is very useful. If you are given with summation of any constant c, where I ranges from any value m to n, that is just equal to this. Example, if you have summation of 5, say your c is 5, because c is a constant, right? Where I ranges from 2 to 10. So in this case, your c is 5, right? Your c is 5. Your m is 2, see? And your n is 10. So you will just plug in the values here. So it will be now, your c is 5, so it will be 5 from here. Your n is 10. Your m is 2, so minus 2 plus 1. Got it? So you just have to follow this one, and then it will be 5 times, this is just 9, I think, right? Because this is just negative 1, then 10. So this is just 45. Clear? Is it clear? So no need for you to do because in this case, you will have to do it one by one. How many terms are there? There are 8 terms and 9 terms to do it. That's why if you add all of the 5s here, you will have 45. Okay? So just remember, bahalag dili 1 diri, sa dili 1 diri, kasi so good, you will use this formula. Okay, what's the difference of this formula and the next formula? We have another formula here, which is almost the same with this. They are almost the same with this. If you look at here, kani o kaning sunod. Tanawan ninyo ha, this portion, this one. Pareha silang forma, itong kaganiha. Kaniha class is given by summation of C where I ranges from M to N. Right? Kasi kalainan sa duha. Kani, bisag unsa nga value siya magsugod. Kani, kung magsugod siya ni 1. Kung magsugod siya ni 1, automatically you just multiply the constant and the last term. Okay? Just multiply the C and your N. Example, if I ask you, what is the summation of 10, where I ranges from 1 to 50? In this case, since it started from 1, you can use it directly. You just have to multiply them, so it is just equal to 500. Okay? But if I will ask you, what is the summation of 10, where I ranges from 5 to 50? In another case, dili ni pwede gamiton. Wala man siya gasugod kang 1. Masa nga formula ang gamiton? Katong kaganiha. Kasi formula kay kaganiha class, duman pa.
And
Ang formula ni is just equal to C.
C
mod.
The formula here is just N minus M plus 1, right? So if this is the case, then you will be doing this in this formula. You will be solving this in this formula. Your C here, says C, din you did nga portion.
10 or 10.
10.
Answer.
So, ang inyong N is 50, right? Your M is
Yes, sir.
5, then plus 1. Okay? So, in this case, this is just equal to 4. Negative 4 rather. So, it will be 10 times 46. So, your answer is 460. Clear? You kindly, isang ng manok magasigtingog, kang gunatsita. I-mute sang microphone, i-adjusol. Okay. Klaro? Is it clear? So again, I will repeat. You will use this formula if you started from 1. If not from 1, then you will use the other one. Okay? Okay, we have another formula to consider. By the way, we also have here what we call the telescoping sum. Actually, this is very useful to derive the next formulas, but anyways, we will not be deriving it one by one. So we might not be using this one, but I will introduce it to you. If you have summation of f of I plus 1 minus the f of I, where I ranges from m to n, that is just equal to f of n plus 1. You just get the n plus 1 minus the f of n. Okay? That is called the telescoping sum. And this telescoping sum is the formula that we will be using in deriving the next formula. Okay. Before we will introduce the other formulas, napaday, kini nga formulas ato na lang kumplituhon before ta mag-example. So we have another formula here. This one. What will be the formula that you will be using if you are asked to find what is summation of I squared, where I ranges from 1 to n? Okay? If nakabasa ninyo sa formula ani? Anyone? Supposedly, this will be written as 1 squared plus 2 squared plus 3 squared and so on until n squared, right? But you know what? There is a formula to make it easy. Any one of you who knows the formula? Nagbasa in advance. Kabalo? The formula is just n times n plus 1 times 2n plus 1 all over 6. Okay? That is the formula. So it means if I asked you, what is the summation of I squared, where I ranges from 1 to 10. So in that case, you will not do this 1 anymore. You will use directly the formula. But you need to determine first what is your n. Okay, Christian, what is your n here, Christian? Christian Harold, what is your n here? Wasaw Redondo. Christian? Hey, Christian, can you hear me? Madunggan ko, Jetro?
Dunggan ako, sir.
Okay, Jetro, what is your n here, Jetro? Nakadungog si Christian. Your n here is 10. So in this case, it will be now 10. This is your n, right? So it will be 10. You will have here 10 plus 1. You will just substitute your n here. It will be 2 times 10 plus 1 all over 6. And if you continue this one, it will be now 10 times 11 times 21, right? All over 6. This 2 can be, you can combine it. This is just 11, so it will be 231, right? Times 10, that is just equal to 2310 over 6. Pila man na if you use your calculator? What is 2,000?
85, sir.
The answer is
85.
85. Just simple as that. Okay? I will repeat. If you have summation of I squared where I ranges from 1 to n, the formula is simply this one. Okay? Let us have one. Yes, Jetro? Do you have any concern, Jetro? You're raising your hand?
Sir, nakoy correction ng ang gisulat nimo 85 kanang sakto sir kay 385.
Again?
985, sir.
385.
Nasa iyo ang kuan 385. Yes, correct. Okay? So, okay na? Napay concern? Okay, wala na. Okay, let us have the next formula. How about if I will have your summation of I cubed, where I ranges from 1 until, say, 10. So in that case, class, the formula of if you will have this until n, the formula is simply something like the square of your summation of I where I ranges from 1 until n. So can you answer, Ani? Kanina? If you remember? Say formula, Ani? Dennis, say formula, Ani, Dennis. Go. Yes, Kasan? Amin?
Cn, sir. C multiplied by n.
This is I. This is that constant. This is I. Anong pinakaunang formula? N times n plus 1 over 2. Right?
Over 2.
If you will have cube, class, the formula is just the square of this. This is just n squared times n plus 1 squared all over 4. Right? This is just the square of this. Okay? If you have I cubed. Got it? That is just the formula if you are given with this. So, I will leave those formulas to you. I think mo to ang importante para makaproceed ka sa mga example. Okay? Anyways, I already gave you the copy of this so you can scan, you go over with the formulas that I mentioned a while ago. Let us have example here, just like this one. If you will have this one, if you will do it in a way that you will have 4 when I is 1, this is the answer. When the I is 2, it will be 4 times 2 minus 5. Minus 5, malinino. Yan lang ha. Minus 5. Okay. If you will do this way, and so on until you will reach to the last term which is 30, right? I-unmute ang microphone kay klaro kaayo. Isa man na. Si Gilio. Okay. So again, if you will do this way, dugay kay ka mahuman, kay daghan mo na pila na ka terms, 30 terms. So if you will do this way, dugay ka mahuman. But you know what? Mas sayo ni if you apply the theorem that I mentioned above. First, ang una gamiton, class, usay pinakauna nga gamiton diri class, ang katong sum of two functions. This is your f sub I, this is your g sub I. So this can be written as summation of 4i, where I ranges from 1 until 30, minus summation of 5, where I ranges from 1 until 30. Ang sunod nga gamiton, class, katong na ay constant. Ba, na-mention ko ganina na ay constant? You can set aside the constant. So it can be written as 4 summation of I, where I ranges from 1 until 30, minus the summation of 5, where I ranges from 1 until 30. If you look at here, class, unsa nga formula ang gamiton ani? Kini nga portion. Kita ninyo? Ini? Saan nga formula ang gamiton na? Ay raman ni, di ba? So ang formula nga gamiton na summation of
N is
I.
N
1 to n, that is just n times n plus 1
N plus
over
1
2.
over
Right?
2.
Kung sa inyong n diri? Kung sa inyong n?
38.
38.
30 ni, di ba? 30.
30.
Na.
30 din.
30. So this is just 4 times, as we all know, that it is just equal to this since n is 30. So 30 times 31 over 2. Got it? Now here, this is a constant, right? So, and it started from 1. Since it started from 1, you can multiply them directly. So it is just equal to 150, right? You just multiply your C and your N. Got it? Pwede mo na i-multiply sila diretso kay it started from 1. Okay? You just use the formula summation of C where I ranges from 1 until N, and it is just equal to N times C. That's why we have 30 times 5, which is 150. Got it? Nakuha? Then you will simplify it. It will be reduced as 2. Bilang maning 30, it will be 60 times 31, right? 60 times 31 minus 50. Ilan yung 60 times 31? This is 180 plus 6, 186.
1,860, sir.
Huh?
1,860.
1,860
1,860.
minus 50. So your answer here should be 1,810.
1,810.
See? Mas sayon kumpara katong imong isa-isahon. When I is 1, when I is 2, when I is 3. Taman when I is 30. Daghan kayo, di ba? But if you know the theorems that I presented a while ago, it will make your life easy. Clear? Nasabtan? Nasabtan ba? I want to hear from you. Nasabtan wala?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you
Yes,
want
sir.
more examples? Do you want more? Positive.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yes, Jumer. Any concern, Jumer?
Katong sa last example nimo, sir ba? Asa to
Kani?
asa nagikan imong yes, sir. Asa gikan ang 60, sir?
60
Kaning
is
60.
coming from here, Jumer. 4 divided by 2 is 2, right?
Yes, sir.
2 times 30 is 60
Okay,
times
sir.
31.
Salamat.
Okay na?
Sige, sir. Okay na, sir. Thank you,
Oh,
sir.
by the way, ayaw kaulaw mangutana. I really appreciate those students who really ask question if you are confused. Because it's new to you. Bago rin sa inyo, di ba? Kung mo ka-encounter ani. So you should ask question if you are confused. Okay? Can we proceed to the next? I want you to type 1 if you are ready for the next question. Type 0 if you are not yet ready. Okay, I want to see in your chat box now. Type 1 if you're ready with the next problem. Type 0 if you are not yet ready. It seems that all of you are ready for the next. Okay. Remember, did I mention about you? Did I mention to you about this? That we will follow I, we, then you. Na-mention
Wala
ako
po,
na, no?
sir.
It means una, ako'y mohimo tanan. Ako'y mo tugtog, ako'y mo kanta, ako'y mo sayaw. Ako'y mo explain tanan. Sunod, we, kitang tanan magtinabangay mo answer sa problems. Then unya, you na dayon, ikaw na lang dayon. Okay? Okay na? Sige. Karon, we sa ka, manang kog I, no? Let us have to do the we. Okay, let us have the next one. Ang nita tag diri nindot nga mga problems. Kini, nindot ni, kini. Kaning i-try. Okay, letter A. Anyway, na-answer diri no? Ito na lang himuon unsa na to na pag-arrive to that answer. Okay, kung sa una himuon diri kay we man kita magtinubangay ta. Sa himuon ani, sa una himuon. Any suggestion?
Sir, Sam. Unahan kay Sam.
Sige, unsa may isulat? Sige daw, sige go.
Ako, sir. Pwede ko ano, take.
Gi-istorya lang Jetro, ako isulat Jetro.
Okay.
Na-mute ka Jetro, na-mute.
Kanang, ang end kay 50, ang sig.
So it is summation
Okay.
of 2.
Summation of 50. Summation of 2.
where k ranges from 1 to 50.
1.
Ano?
50.
And
Yes,
minus
minus 3.
3 summation of
So no,
k, right?
okay. Yes.
Where k ranges from 1 until
1
50, right?
until 50. Yes.
By the way, in
yes,
this
sir.
case, class, dili ay yang gigamit k. Anyway, kanang variable dira can be replaced by any letter. Not just I always. Sometimes it will be k, it will be m, it will be s, depending on sa gihatag sa given. Now, unsa nga formula ang gamiton diri nga portion? Sige daw. Kini nga portion. Are you read ha? Unsa nga formula ang gamiton dira?
Itong CN, sir.
Very good. So unsay answer diri? Correct. That's correct.
100, sir.
100. Nganong 100 man? Akit sa answer atong 100.
Redondo, sir.
Why 100 redondo?
Tungod sa formula nga CN, sir. C times N, sir.
So 50
So,
times
ang
2.
C dara, sir, is 2, sir.
Yes.
As N kay 50.
Correct. That's why you have 100. Okay? I think that is very clear. How about this portion? Sa himuon diri. Diri.
N times N plus 1 over 2, sir.
Very good. So it will be 3 times kung sa atong n diri karon.
50.
So it will be 50 times 50 plus 1, which is 51, right? All over 2, right? Sakto? No? So it will be now, this is just equal to 25, right? Agree? 50 divided by 2 is 25. 3 times 25 is 75. So you have 75 times 51, right? So you have now 100. Pila ni duha? If you multiply this two, what's the answer? What is
3,825.
3,825, sir.
3,925, sir.
3,825, right?
Yes, sir. 25. Yes, sir.
So if you will subtract this two, it must be equal to negative 3,725, right? Did we get it correctly? Sakto. So our solution is correct. Okay? Wala concern? Klaro? Okay. How about letter B? Daw B. Say muna na. Sige gusto mo volunteer. Alexis, are you talking Alexis? For Dado?
Wala.
Kinsa pa?
Wala.
Burgos, Alison. Say mo na to diri Alison sa letter B. Say una isulat, Alison. Alison, feel free to unmute your microphone. Kung dili makaya, mo istorya lang, di makaya, sir. It's okay with me. So ayaw ka, ulaw ka. Ang uban man gud kay kung tawagon kay i-off dayon, ipalungon dayon. No? I always observe that in my Gen Math class. So do not do that ha kay di na maayo. Kung dili ka balo din, sir, dili ko kabalo. So we will call another student. Dili kaya Alison?
Asa, sir?
Okay. Can I ask Grace Ann? Grace Ann.
Wala pa, sir. Wala
Okay.
pa, sir.
So anyone who can suggest what will be the first step? Doreen Kabigon. Anak ka ni Ma'am Kabigon, Doreen? Anak ka ni Ma'am Juanita?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Unsay pinakauna mo ani Doreen? Do you have any suggestion?
Nag-catch up ako, sir. Di pa ko kabalo.
Nag-catch up pa. Sige. Giluka, Shent.
Same ra sa A, sir, katong summation sa taas, then di ko ka-explain sa
So it will be
concept.
summation of. So you just do this one. I-distribute lang ang summation. Summation of
N sa
1
taas, sir.
where J here, right? J atong ano?
Yes, sir.
Ranges from 1
Yes,
to n
sir.
plus kini mapadaplin mo lang
Plus
2.
2
Summation.
summation, then J sa
J.
kilid, sir. Then J is equal to 1.
1 until n. By the way, I will repeat. Correct. You will read this as summation of J, where J ranges from 1 until n. Para na po isuwag paminahon kung kamo mo basa ba. Kaya practicein ninyo ha. Summation of J, where J ranges from 1 until n. Di ba murag right kay paminahon no? Kaya murag lisod kay tanawon. Oh, mayo mo basa nila uy. So you should know how to read that one. Okay? Because you're in STEM. You should know this one. Okay? So what should be the next step? What should be the next step? Kung say
Unahan sa katong sa akad, sir.
ini.
Summation sa 1, sir.
Yes. But constant ni? Constant man no? Katong C?
Yes, sir.
So it
Yes,
will
sir.
be, you just multiply it here.
Multiply.
Nga wala man kay value ni n, so i-multiply lang si 1 of si n. Right? So that will be n because 1 times n is just n. Clear? Clear. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
While the other portion, diri, this is just sa may katong naira, di ba? J lang atong gigamit. So this is just plus 2 times n plus 1 over 2. Right? Agree mo nga kini ang formula ani? I will make it in red, ha? Do you agree that that will be the formula for this? Agree, Dili?
Agree, sir.
Agree. So the 2 will be cancelled out, right? The 2 will be cancelled out. So it will be n. You can distribute the n in each term. So it will be n squared plus n, right? You can combine like terms. So it can be written as 2n plus n squared. And if you look at here, that is exactly the same in the answer, right? Clear? Taro ba? Anyway, class, it's okay if you are confused at this very moment because this is new to you. Ayaw ka kaluoy sa imong kaugalingon kung di ka kuha dayon. It's normal because this is new to you. Kung sa himuon ninyo, mag-practice. Nasabtan. Remember, if you want to be good in math, just like what I mentioned in the previous meeting, if you want to be good in math, you should follow 3 steps. Kasi ganito ka steps para mamaayos sa math. Isang step 1. Na-mention ako sa inyong klase, wala. Uy, na-mention ako sa inyong klase, wala.
First mong giingon sir kay study and look for the solution.
Or the very first step, Mark, is you are going to practice. Practice solving problems. Okay? Step number 2. Any guess? Ano sa step 2? So, ang step 1 day class, magkuha kang dagang problem sa libro, imong ansiran. Muna ang pinakauna, practice. Sunod, sa sunod na step, the next step class is practice again. You get more problems. Sa step 3, practice more and more. Okay? So, mura yun na technique class para mamayo mo sa math. Practice, practice, practice. Did you get my point? Nakuha ninyo?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So, kung gusto mo makabaluan ilisod man sa inyo, kay bago pa, you do practice, practice, and practice. Okay? Because practice makes you practice makes you
Perfect.
perfect. But nobody's
Perfect.
perfect. So why practice, right? Pero kinahanglan mo practice para mamaayos sa math. Murag yun mo na the only way for you to be good in math. Okay? I just want to share it to you. When I was still in elementary class, when I was, I think, in grade 5, I really find hard to understand fractions, math. Di ko maayo math sa una, grade 5. Pero nagsugod ko guys, sige kog answer og problem lang. Na-realize ko ganahan lagi kog math. Yung nana ba? Same sa inyo ha. Kung baminaw ninyo lisod, the only way is to give more time for that. And I want you to be reminded nga ang math is jealous. Siluso. He wants you to give almost all of your time studying him. Okay? Siluso. So ayo sa tong uban, unasa si math. Kay lisod. Kung sa ilisod mo unahon. Masabtan? Especially ang precalculus. Did you get my point, class? Did you get my point? Good. Let us have more examples here. Maybe a couple of examples. Okay, kini yung mga summation. We will just answer. Can you select 2 out of 3 here? Nilang. Papilion tamo aning upat sa inyong gusto. Okay? What do you want? Okay. I want you to select 2 out of 4. Go, select 1 first. Okay, ako mga tanong si Dennis. Select 1, Dennis. Si magana na Dennis, ansiran.
Number 1, sir.
Number 1. Sige, number 1. Sige, number 1, no? Kanang lisod niyo piliyon kaya ato mga ansiran. Ang mahibilin, kamo may mo answer. Di ba?
B, sir, B.
B, sir.
Sige, B. So we will answer letter B. So may muna to ng B. Na ba yung formula nga product ganina? Na yung formula nga product? Na yung formula nga product? Wala. Ganina, sa kung gi-introduce nga formulas, na yung product? Wala, no? Wala. Kay wala man, dili ni mo magamit ang product. So sa himuon, imo ni silang isimplify sa daan. And I think you know how to multiply 2 binomials, right? So multiplication of 2 binomial. You may use FOIL method or you may use special product if you wanted to use any of those. So it can be written as, say answer ani? It will be 5i squared, right? Say middle term, this is negative 2i, this is 15i. So it should be negative, positive 13i. Sakto? Sakto plus? Sakto ba?
Yes, sir.
And the last one should be negative 6. Agree?
Yes,
Where
sir.
I ranges from 1 until 50. Got it? Now, sa sunod muna ni, katong i-distribute ang summation. In the first one, it can be written as 5 summation of 5i squared. Naman ang 5 nun. Kadapli naman ng 5. I squared na lang. Where I ranges from 1 until 50. Natay formula ani, di ba ganihan, no? Natay formula ani? I squared? Naa? Wala formula sa I squared?
Na, sir.
Naa, katong summation of I squared where I ranges from 1 until n. N is just equal to n times
N times
n plus 1 to n plus 1 over 6.
over 6.
Kana no? Damo na gamiton diri unya. Sunod sa isa. It will be now 13 summation of I. Ay raman ni no? For I ranges from 1 until 50. Okay? And the last one is the summation minus the summation of 6 where I ranges from 1 until 50. Okay? So is it clear? So diri, masamay mo na to ana, ito na i-substitute sa formula. Masa atong n diri?
50, sir.
50, sir.
So let us write it here. So it will be 5 times, let us follow this one, it will be 50 times 51. Why 51? Because n plus 1. Kini, 2n plus 1. 50 times 2 is 100 plus 1, 101. Right? Can you follow? Masundan pa ko, class? All over 6. Giunsa ni pag-answer, gigamit na ang formula. Gintroduce na ko ni ganiha wala. Uy, gintroduce mo na ko ni ganiha.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Introduce.
Yes, sir. Na-introduce, sir.
Sunod, dere. Sa sunod mo ng isa, anang ubandra, sa sunod mo on kini. It will be now plus 13. Sa formula ani class, kini. Sa formula ana.
Times n
And
plus 1 over 2.
plus 1
Plus
over
1 over 2.
Yes, it is just equal to, this one is just, unsa atong n diri?
50.
50. So it will be just 50 times 51 over 2. Nakuha ninyo anong kana? Because atong gigamit tong n times n plus 1 over 2. Okay, I mani. Kuha? And the last one is this. Kasi answer ani. Ini.
constant.
Constant
Sige,
man ano?
sir.
So i-multiply lang ning duha.
50 times 6, sir.
So it will be just 300. Got it? Sayon ra, di ba? Sayon ra, oy. Sayon, mana. Nabaguhan lang mo ito ganina, mong nakalitan mo. Okay, sunod mo on. Daw. Sa sunod mo na, simplify na lang. Do the math. Right? So, idiri. So, may tabo diri. It is just, kasi ma-reduce diri, kini. It is just 25. This is just 3. Right? Sakto? Uy, sakto ba? Sige, kuha daw mo calculator. Pila man ang 5 times 25 times 51 times 101 divided by 3. Can you tell me the answer? Can you get a calculator and try? What's the answer of 5 times 25 times 51 times 101 divided by 3? Go.
Kwan, sir, 214,625.
14,625.
625? Kana?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So that's the answer in the first part, right? How about in the second part? This one, it can be reduced as it's just 1, it will be 25. So can you multiply 13 times 25 times 51? What's the answer?
16,575, sir.
Again, repeat.
16,575.
575 and minus 300, right? I-try daw add and subtract by 300. What is the answer? It should be the same with this, dapat.
When 230,900. Same, sir.
200.
Same, no?
Para,
So,
sir.
13,900.
Yes, sir.
This
Same food,
23,000,
sir.
230,900. Okay? Kuha ninyo? So, amazing, right? Nindot, no? Nindot mo din yung topic. Nabaguhan lang. Okay. One more. Last problem before we go. Select. Ikaw, Marp. Si Marp ako mapilion. Di Marp. Select one. A, C, or 4.
Kwan, sir. Letter C.
Letter C. Dili ka ganang number 4, Marp.
Ay, try na lang number 4, sir.
Number 4 na lang.
Sir.
Kay lisod. Itong piliyon ang lisod. Kay kung mukuan ta tong sayon, lisod. Ang lisod wala pong ansiran. Okay, let us answer this one. Okay. Okay na ni number 4, Marp? Okay na sa mo, Marp? Number 4? Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay na ako,
Sige.
sir.
So, any of you who can help me how to do it? Lisod na ano? Pero you know what, class? Sayon ra na if you know the trick. Sa trick diri yung nahimuon. Tutukin ninyo ang given. Sayon na kayo na oy. Mo kita?
Ay, mo din ang yun.
Sayon na himuon. Katong constant ipadaplin. Nakita ninyo ang constant diri? Unsa ang constant
Yes, sir.
diri?
3.
Nabo joy bigger nga constant sa ilang tanan.
7.
7, sir.
7.
Wala ninyo nakita ang 1/2? Wala ninyo nakita
Makita
ang
wala
1/2.
pa eh.
So because this can be
medyo-
written as 1/2 times 3g sub I minus f sub I plus 7. Right? Kita ninyo na? Is it the same with this? Parehar na sila dili.
Same, sir.
Pareha. Sa to pa kanang 1/2 kay pwede na ko na mapadaplin dito. Right? So it can be written as 1/2. Kita ninyo? 1/2 summation of 3 pagkakalungon ang 3g of I. Kita ninyo? Ato na lang kuan diretso na lang. Diretso na din natin magdagang sulat. Abutang na to dag 1/2. I-distribute din nato ang summation kada isa. 3 summation of g of I, where I ranges from 1 to 30. Ahana ko ni nakuha katong gi-distribute na ko ni sa first nga term. Kung i-distribute na ko ni sa second nga term na kay negative summation of f sub I, where I ranges from 1 to 30. And for the last part, pila gani ini? 7 no? 7 is ano? 7,
Yes.
it is just plus summation of 7 where I ranges from 1 to 30. Sa'yo naman na, di ba? No? Sa'yo na, di ba? Anong sino nakasayon ana, sir? Sayon na na. Ano man? Na naman ni answer. No? Ano sa'yo answer, ani? Kini nga portion. Kita ninyo ni? Ano na sa given? Yung sa inyo niya? 50.
Anong 50, sir?
Ay kasayon.
Anong 50, sir?
Oh, di ba? 50. Kini nakita ninyo niyo sa value ani?
Anong 70?
Siya kay wala siya
70.
kita sa imong value. No? Kamo, nakita ninyo ang value ani? Sa value ani?
Yes, sir.
Sa value ani niya? Nay value?
70, sir.
70, sir.
70. Kani makuha ang answer ani?
Yes, sir.
Ilan sir ani?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
210, sir.
200
sir.
ay kasayon na day ani. It is just 1/2. 3 times pila ganini? 50 no? 50.
50,
This
sir.
one
50.
is minus 70
Unrelated.
plus 210. Right? No? So pila ni answer
Yes,
ani? 150. No? It is just equal to 1/2 times 150 minus 70 plus 210. Idaw i-perform daw ninyo. Sa answer niya sa sulod. Kani mahimo na lang na siyang 80 plus 210. 290 no?
290. Yes, sir. 290, sir.
290 divided by 2, is it 145?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and we got it correctly. Okay? Klaro? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Ay, sir, wait lang, sir. Nakoy pangantana, sir.
Yes. Yes, Mark.
Anong, wadyo ko kasabot, sir. Anong na 1/2?
Asa gikan ang 1/2? Diri. Di ba nasa all over 2? Pasabot ana silang tanan divide og 2. So it means understood na siya nga na 1 dira, na 2 dira, so 1/2 na. Gipadapin na ning 2 nga gi-divide niya Mark ba? Kini bitaw Mark. Kini gi-divide niya nga 2 diri, gipadaplin na. Ma 1/2 man ako ipadaplin, di ba? Kita ninyo? Ma 1/2 man akong ipadaplin. Munang wala na ni denominator nga 2 diri karon. Nakita ninyo wala na ni denominator nga 2. Kaya ato namang gipadaplin si 1/2. Oha? Na okay na?
Wala, sir.
Okay, good.
Okay,
Napay
thank you.
Okay. Napay mga concerns? Wala na. Okay, kini inyong himuon class. Na. So kini inyong himuon. Ang wala na to na ansiran inyong ansiran. Na ako'y nindot kay nga problem diri nga gusto nako ninyo maansiran. Ato dapitan, ato diri di ko siya ako itan. In the previous kini, I want you to sa exercises kato bitong anyways, I will just give it to you maybe the next meeting, or I will just send a picture in your group chat maybe tonight, later tonight, okay? Taro? So any questions before we go? Any questions?